In today's video, very similarly to yesterday's, we're going to be going over the analogs now for my winter of 2024 to 2025. Now, there's no time too soon to start talking about these things because we're only going based off of history. We're not going to pick up another winter in the meantime to, compare to 2024 to 2025. So now is the time to start talking about these things, and we've done this before the fall as well, just yesterday, as I mentioned. If you want to check out that video, I'm sure I'll have it on the top right corner of your screen for you to check out. We're going to be breaking down all of my analogs, which you can see on screen now. It's all of those. I don't want to bore you guys with naming them all down, but we will be showing you the combined forecast, which is what we're looking at right now. We will look at the December, the January, the February, and the March forecast according to all of these years. And then we're going to be breaking down all of the years individually, December to February. So it's going to be a very thorough video today. Let's go ahead and talk about it. So this is the combined forecast, and it's obviously looking very extreme. The way we found these analogs, by the way, is all weaker La Niñas, which is what we expect to move into. So under 1 degree above average in the ENSO is what we looked for during the entire December to February timeframe. And then also we looked for particular La Niñas where we were descending out of an El Nino and dropping into a La Nina, which is exactly what we're expecting for this upcoming winter. So these are very relevant for the upcoming winter. And what we found is that a lot of these years featured severe cold, especially in the kind of northern plains, upper Midwest, kind of central plains and Midwest here, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast especially. So these areas dealt with severe cold during a majority of these winters. There was some winters that featured some cold along the Gulf Coast or the West Coast here, but the most of the cold was in the North Central and Northeastern states here. Let's break down the individual months. So this is December, and it's very telling that we saw actually quite a bit of warmth along the Southwest in all of these Decembers when we put them together. And then a lot of severe cold again for your kind of northern plains, upper Midwest, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, Northeast region there. Let's take a look at January here, and it got even colder, believe it or not, because these analogs are already very strong on the cold for December, but we have even further severe cold across a lot of your north central and northeastern states here, and a lot of areas in between for January of all of these years combined. 65, 71, 75, 84, 96, 2001 and 2011 there. Now for February, we actually saw on average, which is crazy with this many years, but we actually on average saw a bit of a winter thaw for the East. So it'll be very interesting to see if this is accurate as we move forward into the winter months. But February was quite normal to maybe even above normal during the majority of these years, whereas December and January definitely were not. And we actually saw a lot of the cold move westward during this time. So we saw a lot of this brutal cold shift westward for the month of February during the majority of these months. But for the months of March, and keep in mind the bottom is in Fahrenheit, but it is the color codings here. So for these darker blues, we're at about 6 to 8 degrees below normal, which is severe for a month. That is absurdly intense as far as the below normal temperatures. But we saw brutal marches on average. So very long lasting winters with brutal marches here, especially across, again, the northern plains, upper Midwest, central plains and Midwest, Ohio Valley, Great Lakes. And even these lighter blues are 2 to 4 degrees below average, which is still very cold. A lot of times that would be the dark blue, but we just have such a severe area of cold over the upper Midwest here that this gets kind of undershadowed. But these areas are definitely severely cold as well. We only really saw normal conditions along the West Coast and then for southern Florida. So very cold marches on average for all of these years, which is very telling. So I think that it's interesting to see the cold December, January, the warmer February, and then a brutal March to finish things off. We'll have to look back on this video and see how accurate it is. I'm very curious to see how these analog years do. But history is often a very good puzzle piece to the whole puzzle, and I think that it's going to tell us a lot about the upcoming year and even in next year as we're looking at the winter time. So let's just break these down one by one. Here's the winter of 1964 to 1965. We did see some warmer temperatures along kind of your central western states. We did see a lot of cooler air, especially across your north central, into the Midwest, Ohio Valley and Great Lakes, and then into the Northeast here. A little bit closer to normal here for the deeper South Central and Southeastern states, though. For the winter of 1970 to 71, we saw a pretty similar winter, actually. Very brutally cold across your kind of northern plains, upper Midwest, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, and then Northeast Mid-Atlantic corridors there. And then some warmer temperatures for the South Central and Southeastern states. Now, I forgot to mention this. I can see the comments rolling in already, but, a lot of people will be like, of course it's colder as you get close to Canada, and then for the deeper south, of course it's warmer. But this is compared to normal for all of these areas. So Texas, in this instance, is warmer than normal for the wintertime during the winter in Texas here. So this would be warmer than what they typically expect for this time of year in Texas. And these areas would be colder than what's typical for these areas in the wintertime. So we're just seeing more extreme contrast in this case between the north and the south here. So you're getting the extremes are getting even more extreme in this instance, I guess is what I should say. 1974 to 1975 is one of the rare examples of these analogs where we actually see a warmer winter. So in the east, we see overall warmer temperatures. It's not too bad. We've seen a lot of warmer winters in this recently, but it is a little bit warmer than what's typical. And it's quite a bit cooler than typical across a lot of your west there. So definitely very, very interesting. And then as we move into the 84 to 85 winter here, we saw a brutal cold northwest and north central states with near normal conditions along the eastern seaboard and close to your kind of southeast area here. So again, another example of a not so cold winter in the east. But again, these are pretty hard to come by from this group. And, as we move into the 1995 to 96 winter here, you can already see that we move back into the warm in the southwest, which would cause overall a positive PNA, which stands for Pacific North American Oscillation. This causes cold air to dive into the central and eastern states, which, as you can see, is occurring on this analog here. So I'm sure this is what was taking place. And once again, you're kind of getting the majority of the cold here for the northern plains, upper Midwest, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast here, with brutally cold conditions throughout the majority of this winter of 95 to 96. Now, for the winter of 2000 to 2001, we had a very, very cold one once again. This time, it spread much further south. We're seeing areas in the deeper south central and southeastern states seeing very, very severe cold here, again in 2000 to 2001. But this is actually an outlier a little bit. Most of our analogs have these areas near normal or even a little bit warmer, with most of the cold being reserved for areas further north. And then for finally the winter of 2010 to 2011, which is more recent history, so a lot of you may remember this one, we had another brutally cold winter starting out in the northern plains. You guessed it, upper Midwest, some of the plains there, into the Ohio Valley, Great Lakes, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast. Again, similarly to the 2000 to 2001, we did see a bit of this spread closer to the southeast. So perhaps this could end up being the case. We also saw a massive East Coast blizzard that included some areas very far south in here in December of this year, so December of 2010. The Boxing Day blizzard, you guys might remember it as a very, very extreme one. So this was a very extreme winter overall. Very, very cold, as a majority of these are, and certainly a very interesting one. And again, to reiterate, here is all of them put together. This is 1964 to 65, 1970 to 71, 1974 to 75, 1983 to 84, 1995 to 96, 2000 to 2001, and 2010 to 2011 here. And overall, you end up with a much, much colder corridor here from the northern plains, upper Midwest, some of the central plains and Midwest, Ohio Valley, Great Lakes, Northeast, and Mid-Atlantic there. So very, very severe stuff that we're seeing according to all of these historic analogs. I'm very, very curious to see what ends up happening with these guys. So be sure to subscribe. We do upload every single day, and we have a lot more fall and winter content coming out for you guys very, very soon, as we're going to be talking about it all summertime long, all fall time long, and all winter long. So we're going to be all about the fall and winter as we look forward to those cooler months. And I know that not a lot of people are excited for it yet, but come July, August, we're all going to be looking forward to that big cool down, as we're going to be sick and tired of the heat, even as we move into September. So these things will obviously get more and more exciting for everybody. Again, be sure to check out our yesterday's video, which was the fall time analogs. If you want to check those out, you can check those out as well. The fall forecast is coming out very soon. We probably won't make a winter forecast for about a month, until the very preliminary one. But we're going to be talking more about these things over the coming months. So again, be sure to subscribe, hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.